if he is a replicant, like, that kind of ruins the movie for me.
Really?
Yeah, I really do. Because to me, when I was watching it, it's like almost like a theme. Like, the theme is like what makes us human, you know? It's like, this is gonna get into like spoiler stuff.
I think everybody in the page has seen it by now.
Okay.
Because everyone else is watching.
So like, the whole time he's going through and he's retiring,
Yeah.
which is like a euphemism for like murdering
Yeah.
these replicants, right? And I just feel like in that he seems more inhuman than some of the replicants do, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Like, especially at the end when Roy like saves him when he obviously doesn't have to.
Yeah.
But the whole thing is, and I get like the eye glary thing and the unicorn thing, but I feel like those could be other things.
Okay.
But I feel like the whole, and I have thoughts on those things too, like the photos and whatever.
Yeah.
But I feel like if he's a replicant the whole time, like, what's...
Hey guys, for 36, this is the create your own spinach pickle grape buns.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Gotta go with spinach.
I just feel like, what's the point? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I thought about this a lot earlier.
Yeah.
It's like kind of like the opposite. Like the replicants are supposed to have like no empathy and whatnot. But when he's going through and he's murdering these replicants, like,
Thank you very much.
we see him kind of like starting to, at first he doesn't have much empathy for them, but he starts to like develop this empathy throughout. So to me, it's like, and even like that, like the line at the end with the other Blade Runner guy, I don't know his name because I've only seen it like twice, where he's like, it's too bad she's gonna die or whatever, but don't we all? It's kind of like bringing that full circle. It's like they're just as human as we are in a lot of ways, and like in some ways more so, because does that make sense?
Yeah, you're making sense. I'm getting it.
Okay. So, and I just think the whole turn of his character and developing empathy, moving from like being unempathetic, I guess the word would be, to empathy is ruined if the whole time he's just like a replicant. Like, I think that message is lost if he's just if he's a replicant. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Okay. I think it can go either way either, but I'm more so on the side of him being a replicant.
Okay.
Because, well, I think he's a different type of replicant because of the unicorn dream. When I watched it again recently, you've got the unicorn dream, and when I think of a unicorn, unique, different, one of a kind, right? And so replicants can't age past 4 years because of their coding that Tyrell talks about when he's talking to Roy.
The Nexus.
Yes, the Nexus 6 replicants. You know, in the coding, they're not able to go back in and change it. It is what it is. Right? So I think that Deckard being a replicant, it's sort of, it just all comes back to the whole unicorn thing to me, because I think that's like...
It's like a different kind of replicant.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
Unicorn.
Yeah, because he can age past a certain amount of years, obviously, because he's in the sequel.
Right.
And I think that within the first 20 minutes, we're going to find out if he is or isn't anyways.
Yeah.
But I think that him being a replicant is really important because he's sort of... They kind of talk about how replicants... as time goes on, they gain more emotions, and they start feeling more human, and they start getting certain attachments or whatever. And, you know, they keep asking, he's been asked multiple times, have you taken the test yourself to find out if you're replicant? He never really addresses it, he kind of brushes it off because he doesn't really know, because they talk about implanting memories and how, you know, this might be the first replicant Blade Runner because he's a one-of-a-kind replicant, and because they might be using him to track down other replicants to see if this new model can stand up against these Nexus 6 replicants that have, you know.
Which he gets his butt kicked.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
super kicked.
Oh, absolutely. And so then when we get to, you know, the monologue about how replicants are able to experience all these things that other people can, that humans can't, you know, and he's like, that those memories are going to be lost in time like tears in the rain. When someone is, like, let's just say figuratively crying in the rain, you know, you can't really tell the difference between tears and raindrops. And so raindrops would represent the humans and tears would represent replicants because they're so unique. They're not raindrops, they're just tears, and you know, you won't be able to tell the difference unless you truly know that that person is a replicant or a human. So if you're kind of looking at Deckard's character, he is someone where he's kind of been battling with, well, not battling, but we're kind of battling as an audience. Is he human? Is he a replicant? And so does it really matter? Not really, because, you know, he's still a human, not really human, but he's going through these motions like a human would. And so it's a really tough line. I think it just goes back to the whole unicorn thing, and I think Gaff knows, or his cop buddy, you know, knows. He kind of says, like, he kind of leaves those things there. The chicken is there that he builds out of origami. I think it's cowardice. And then the little human with the it's him, you know, falling in love with Rachel or whatever. And so there's lots of things there, and I think there's, you know, there could be a good point about him being a human, kind of, or being a replicant kind of takes away from the humanity of the movie. But I still think that him being a replicant, because, like, I think Roy knows. That's why he saves him. He knows that he's a replicant. He wants this replicant to live on and be able to, like, experience things and not just let him die. If he were a human, he might have just let him go, because he's killed Tyrell. He's killed JF.
My favorite.
They killed JF, and
so
you know,
sad.
I think he saves him because he knows that he's a replicant, and because that he can, you know, go on and experience all these things because he's a unique type of. How would he know? I don't know, but remember, they have the intelligence. They're as intelligent as their creators.
Right.
So,
but I think that the whole point of him, like, chasing him, and, well, obviously he knew he was going to die, but I think the point of him chasing him was to kind of teach Deckard a lesson and put him in the position of a replicant, like, to show him, like, the fear of being hunted and the fear of being a slave. Like, essentially he says that at the end. It's like, and I think the monologue about Tears of Rage is more like, because he's experienced these things and he can't pass them on to anyone, nobody's going to remember these things. It's like, that's all just lost. Like, it's just gone, you know? And that kind of goes back to, I think in some ways, it's like a sad statement on humanity, but it kind of humanizes these replicants and shows, like, makes Deckard empathize with them, and that's why I think
more perspective.
Yeah, because I feel like Roy even says, like, now, like, basically now you know what it's like to be one of us, like what it's like to be hunted, what it's like to be a slave, and I think that was like a turning point moment where he's like, okay, well, Rachel, let's go do this thing, or whatever her name is, Rachel.
Yeah, Rachel. Yeah.
Like, let's go do this thing. Like, let's run. I'm going with you. Which, by the way, that was like really quickly they fell in love, like, and that like love, like that scene was like really awesome. Can I just say that scene was like really very rapey.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's my least favorite scene in the movie.
Yes, I was like, what is even happening right now?
Pretty bad. No, I think that's a great point about, you know, Roy trying to just kind of make him understand what it's like to be a replicant, you know, because you don't know. You're a human. You're not treated like that. And, you know, I think that's a really good point. I didn't even think about that, but hey, we'll find out, I guess.
Yeah, I guess so.
You gonna eat your burger?
Yes.